It's Talk Erie and the Joel Natale Show. We're live from our Kingdom Financial Group studio here at 5th and State. We have the crucial conversations that Erie needs. We're going to have a fun one today as we dive into the world of theater, playwriting, and local authors. Lisa Rawson is with us with Peeshk Productions LLC. Is that close?
It is.
Oh, okay. Good news. Welcome, Lisa. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate the opportunity.
All right. We like to hear origin stories of a family show. Tell us about how you came up, where'd you grow up, and so on.
So I was born in Pittsburgh, but moved to Conneaut Lake when I was 10.
Okay.
So I went through
What was that? What was the situation around that?
My father got a job in Meadville.
Okay.
And so that's where we landed. So
Did you live close to the lake? Did you have like a pontoon boat or something?
You can't live in Conneaut Lake and be too far away from the lake, but we weren't right on the lake.
Okay.
And we had friends that had boats, so that was always fun.
That's fun, yeah.
Yeah. So
is your high school still around, or is it now cash?
So that's the interesting thing. The school district at the time had 3 high schools: Conneaut Lake, Conneaut Valley, and Linesville.
Right.
And then 3 feeder elementaries: Conneaut Lake, Linesville, and Conneaut Valley. Then they merged. In 2012, they merged, and Linesville became the only location of the high school. My old high school, Conneaut Lake, became a middle school, and Conneaut Valley High School became a middle school.
Okay.
Then Conneaut Valley Middle School closed.
Okay.
So now Conneaut Lake is the only middle school. So it's kind of...
So all the kids from the district go to Conneaut.
Right. So then it became Conneaut Area High School and Conneaut Area Middle School. They changed the logo. They did the whole consolidation. Yeah,
the sports teams are known as Cash.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. And they're the Eagles now, because we were the Indians. Conneaut Valley was the Indians.
Interesting.
And Linesville were the Lions.
So now they're
all the Eagles.
Gotcha.
Right.
All right. Now, did you go to college, or what did you do for?
Yes, right here, Gannon.
Okay.
Right here. Right around the corner.
What'd you study?
Accounting.
Nice.
And then I went back to school and got my MBA back when companies would reimburse, their employees to continue their education. So I did that. Worked at Hammermill, Elgin Electronics, Zern Industries, and then decided to be a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah.
So, things just kind of evolved.
Did you do any theater at high school or college?
In high school, yes.
Yeah.
College, no. I was definitely in the school of business and all of the business organizations and such. But in high school, I did.
Nice. And like any role that, exemplified your passion back then?
It was all pretty new to the school because they didn't have a drama department, and our Spanish teacher actually stepped up to lead a drama department. So that was all pretty new. And we did January Thaw and Annie Get Your Gun.
Oh, there you go.
Those were
anything you can do, I can do better. Right?
So that was it. And then we had a community theater group start up. There was a woman in the community, Dreama McGee, who collaborated with others and put together, we had like a variety show type thing, which was really fun.
Cabaret.
We did skits. We did little skits. And she went on to do some more, but by then I was starting college and kind of got out of it a little bit. But that was still fun. I did Rosanna Dana. We did a skit for that.
I could see that.
We did a Lily Tomlin take a little bit of laugh in stuff.
Yeah, sure.
So, yes, a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
All right. So, okay. So you're bringing home the bacon, working as an accountant, as an MBA, but somewhere in the back of the I guess they would call it the right brain, right? There's this whole creative side. I would love to know the origin of that.
I think the seeds were planted in high school.
Sure.
I think doing the shows in high school really planted a seed. I did audition in my 20s for something, and that didn't work out. So it just kind of was put on hold, put in a box or something. Mom and life and kids took priority. And
The
then,
kids take up any of this? I mean, do you have any showbiz kids?
No.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
All right.
My daughter did a little bit
Yeah.
of ensemble type things in high school, but no. And it just was timing. I would occasionally think, maybe I should try again. And I would look at the Playhouse auditions, and a lot of them were musicals, and that's not my thing. So then in 2016, I looked, and they had auditions coming up for a comedy, and I went for it, and I was cast, and that just reignited this passion, if you will.
So this is the last decade where
yes.
things kind of turned on a dime.
Yes, sir. Yes, most definitely. I couldn't believe the feeling that, I had on stage. I just couldn't get enough at that point. So
It's kind of intoxicating, isn't it?
It very much is.
Yeah.
And didn't know that it was laying there dormant all those years, but it was a wonderful experience, and I can't stop now.
Well, okay, so there's the idea of performing, but you've gone that extra mile, if you will, to the idea of actually creating actual plays.
It wasn't. I didn't know that was going to happen.
Are you a journaler? Do you write? Do you write sweet letters to relatives? I don't know.
No, after my kids were older and I went back to work part-time, I became a proofreader.
Oh.
So it was just a lot of reading, a lot of editing.
Like technical manuals? Or?
I worked for Corey Publishing, which became Jameson,
Right.
which became Vert Markets.
Yeah.
So a lot of words. Didn't expect that I would write my own words. I just felt that I was going to read everybody else's and point out their mistakes. But it just all kind of...
Oh, one of those people, right?
You can't unsee it.
Yeah.
They're in menus, they're in billboards, they're in everywhere.
It's alarming.
So just working with more theater and more comedies, I started to help preview some scripts for the Station Dinner Theater to try to give some show suggestions. And I would read a script and I'd get frustrated because the summary and the sample pages all sounded great, but then I'd read the script and it just tanked after Act 1 or something, So
Boy, that pesky Act 2 is always hard to keep up the momentum,
So my husband said, you should write your own. I don't know how to write a play. I don't know what I'd write about. And when Conneaut Valley Middle School closed, because that was within our district, I told him, did you hear the news? Conneaut Valley Middle School is supposed to close. What do you do with an old school? Oh, you could turn it into senior living. And wouldn't that be funny if we ended up living in our old high school? And there you have it.
And that's the basis of the play.
That is the basis of the play.
So explain the comedy there. This very first one here.
So this is Old School Living in Our Old School was the title. I wrote it in the fall of 2023. And in 2024, it premiered here at the Station Dinner Theater in Erie. Since then, it's had 6 other productions, 2 in Canada, 1 in Oklahoma, 1 in Louisiana, 1 in Ohio. And then the upcoming 7th one is incredibly special. Nostalgically significant, I think were your words. So this play will be performed at my old high school, which is now Conneaut Area Middle School. The theater director from the district put together a cast of theater alumni, her students, her alumni theater. So it's just very meaningful, very relevant. They were, I guess, still in touch with her and saying, all the sports teams get to do alumni things. What about us theater kids? How about doing a theater alumni show? And then we connected, and this just all fell into place. And even though the high school where she does a lot of her theater is in Linesville, she knew the meaning behind this was so relevant to Conneaut Lake that she's staging it in that building. So it's not just about the Conneaut Lake area and the district and all that. Obviously, the humor extends because theaters across the country are performing it. Next year, I'm scheduled in Wisconsin and Florida. I have 2 theaters there. But anyone from the area will get extra.
Yeah.
They'll get some nuances and some stories within that the general public might not. It's still funny,
Right.
but it's funnier to the people who know. If you know, you know, right?
Yeah. I'm fascinated on how you go from, wouldn't it be funny if we lived in our old school, to you fleshed out an entire 2-act play. What, probably runtime hour and a half, 2 hours?
Exactly, about 90 minutes.
90 minutes?
Yeah.
All right. I've got like 3 minutes before the break. Talk a little bit how that started. What was your process?
So my husband and I actually graduated together.
Okay.
Right before or right after that story broke about the school closing and this idea, we were taking a cross-country driving trip to Seattle. So we had 4 or 5 days in the car. And I brought a notebook, and we just started spewing, talking about ideas.
I was going to say, were you doing vignettes? Were you doing...
There's a little bit of that to it, yes. So the scene has to start with the reunion committee getting together for their 45th class reunion, and everybody's talking about the plans and finding out that the school, the old school, is vacant. And the news breaks that if it's not sold, they might tear it down. So the reunion committee decides they're going to try to buy the school and convert the classrooms to condos and move in. Because it's real. Schools are, I mean, it's
Absolutely,
a real thing.
Yeah.
They're using
all over Erie County.
The schools are turning into senior living all over. So it's relevant and real and funny and relatable.
What's super scary is that you're talking about 45th class reunion, and that was my reunion last year.
We'll see.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And so you're writing it on this cross-country trip, and then what happened next? Did you just kind of start assembling it? And are you doing your editing thing?
Of course. And, keeping in touch with the theater family. So we had Zoom calls. We did a read-through via Zoom because I was in Seattle and they were back here to flesh it out.
So these are folks at the station, or
from all over that I met. That Adele and John Burton.
Wow.
And Dave Durst and
so
Vic
just
Coon.
just confidants in the theater family.
Exactly. Let's read this. Tell me what you think. Could this go? Is this viable? Is this funny? And so we just kept working on it, and I'd get feedback and just kept tweaking it, and then we performed it at the station. So.
And how long ago was that again?
That was August of 2024.
So literally just 2 years ago.
Yes.
Unreal.
And then I thought, well, I'm going to take this on the road. Not literally, but
yeah.
So I started reaching out to theaters, and that's a grind because I'm nobody. I'm not a publishing house. I'm not.
Oh, so you didn't have you didn't submit it to an agency or anything like that. Your hand promoting it.
Yes.
Wow. Yes. And you got, what did it say, 6 theaters already to perform it, including in Canada.
Yes.
Unreal. Hold that thought. Lisa Rawson is with us here. I'm fascinated by this creative, this absolute creative timeline, you know what I mean, of just being able to go from a quippy idea and writing basically the essence of a play in a week, and then fleshing it out to the point that it's a published document. Here, stay with us. It's Talk Erie and the Joel Natale Show here. We're learning a lot about creativity and the amazing folks that we have in our community. Lisa Rawson is with us, written 2 comedies for the stage. And so we were catching up on her story about her first comedy. It's called Old School Living in Our Old School, which is premiered at the Station Dinner Theater, but has now been in production across the country here. Again, Lisa, let's talk about, what that process is of like creating the scripts and selling it, and marketing the play to individual community theaters or wherever you were putting it out there.
I mean, that's a grind, and it's tough because I'm nobody. So I'm just basically reaching out to community theaters who do comedies, because some of them focus more on musicals. So I'd look at their season lineup and see if they do comedies, and email or call, reach out. Hey, I'd like to send you a sample of my script. Would you consider reading it? And then once performances were happening, then I could elaborate on that. The show's been produced in 2 theaters in Canada, in Oklahoma, in Louisiana, in Ohio. So it's building a little bit of a production history for them to see. So
I've noticed that some of these shows are available on YouTube where they can actually go and see part of the production. Is that the case with your shows just yet?
No, I'm trying to kind of hold it close to chest, because that's, with copy. I mean,
it is intellectual property, isn't it?
That's right. Yes. So, in the contracts, it states that they can make short videos to promote and market the event, but they can't film the entire production, and they certainly can't put it on a public type channel. So there's nothing out there like that available for them to see. But I do have sample pages that a potential director or theater artistic director can read and get a summary of. They're welcome to, contact the theaters that have produced this already, reach out to them, but it's a grind.
Yeah. Is there a sweet spot when you think about the casting part of this, of how large the ensemble should be? Should there be some major heavy hitter characters and some, specialty characters? How did you do the character part of this whole thing?
I tried to keep it small, relatively small. One, because it's very difficult for community theater. Those are volunteers.
Sure.
And so a lot of community theaters are challenged with getting people to audition, especially men. So what I did in the old school play is I made 2 of the characters a set of twins so that they could be performed by the same actor. And the one character came to the class reunion, and his twin brother ended up moving into the facility. So they weren't ever have to be on stage at the same time. But I could have more characters and give more of a story by using the same actors.
That's pretty remarkable when you think about it. And that's what comes in the later stages of writing the play, is tweaking it for almost the mechanics of the show, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes. So again, with the challenges that I know that theaters have with getting people to audition, that was one way that could help them.
You're kind of putting the cookies on the bottom shelf. Hey, let me remove some barriers for you. Exactly. So that it makes this more enticing.
Now, if they're fortunate enough to have multiple, so one of the other roles, we actually tripled. And it also allowed people, maybe it's a new person. So when I attended the show in Ohio, they had a couple actors. It was their first time on stage, so they didn't want a real big role. So they were fine being the pharmacy delivery guy and just having a few lines. But if you want someone and have someone who would do all 3 roles, you can. So just try to give them a little flexibility. And I think the casting for the show coming up in Conneaut Lake, they split the roles so that they could have more people involved.
Yeah.
So it gives them the flexibility to do that.
And like you said in the earlier segment, it's actually going to be a Conneaut Lake School District alumni show. That's super cool.
It is. They are alumni from 2005 to 2025 involved in this production. And
There's some young people.
There are two who also, like myself, graduated from Conneaut Lake when it was the high school. So that's a cool thing. Yes. So that's coming up on July 10th, 11th, and 12th.
And that's a big reason why you're here, is to kind of promote this particular show, this very special edition of the old school living in our old school. All right, I've got to take the break here at the bottom of the hour. We're talking to Lisa Rawson. She is with us here, and we're going to talk about her second comedy that's about to be, performed here at the Station Dinner Theater in August. Stay with us. It's Talk Erie and the Joel and Natalie Show on this Wednesday. So there's a song from, probably when I was just graduating from high school there, or a little bit after Jackson Browne. It's Talk Erie and the Joel Natale Show, live from our Kingdom Financial Group studio. And we got a special conversation going on here today as we talk to Lisa Rawson. She is from Peeshk Productions LLC. She is a local playwright based in Lake City here, but harkens from Crawford County. And we're talking about her two comedies. The first one, our Old School Living in Our Old School. It's already been produced 6 times across the country, and a 7th in a special production coming up here July 10th through the 12th at the high school. Is it Conneaut Lake High School? Or
Well, it was. Now it's Conneaut Area Middle School.
Conneaut Area Middle School, but it's the old Conneaut Lake High School.
Correct.
And that's where you're performing that one. Let's talk about your second comedy and the origin story for that. It's called Lost, Then Found, in the Middle of Gnoware. That's Gnowarre. Okay, you got it. Right. What's the deal with the spelling there?
So the town name, it's based on a fictional town in Ohio. And it's spelled Gnowarre. The locals will pronounce it as Gnoware. But I wanted to twist it so that it could be read as Nowhere, because basically there's a traveler from Seattle, big city, who gets his rental car breaks down. He shows up at this teeny tiny airport and expects to just rent a car, get on the next flight, get on with his travels. They are a very small airport. There's one flight. There's one car to rent. The baggage handling is a red wagon and a bathroom scale. It's very small town. So the twist on this play is that there's an actor behind the scenes that is just the voice of the main character's inner thoughts. So all the things that you would like to say out loud when you're in a situation that is very quirky and different, he's going to say that the audience will hear. So it's that sarcasm. It's that, what in the world is this? Where am I? Those kind of reactions that you have in your head and you keep in your head will be heard. So that's another character in the play, is his inner voice.
Not sure I know a show that does that.
Try to make it something unique.
Yeah, I guess so. Because I was getting the vibes of what was the movie with Marilyn Monroe that she shows up at the diner? Oh my gosh, I'm not gonna.
I don't know. I've heard people reference Doc Hollywood.
Oh,
with Michael J. Fox.
Okay.
Big city comes to the small town.
Kind of the clash of the cultures.
Exactly. Exactly. So as the summary says, he learns about their relaxed life, their very first traffic light, their annual cow pie bingo, and their gnome-loving residents. And he learns they offer the change that he didn't know he needed. So it took getting lost to truly be found.
Okay. So obviously there's some things that are profound in his self-discovery, if you will.
Right. He gets to know the residents. He's there at the airport for a bit, waiting to get on his flight out, and they talk to him about the area. He's talking about his busy life and takes a few minutes to breathe in what a small town could offer, and twist of fate type of thing. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it's fun.
All right. Talk a little bit about your process in this one. Again, you had one down. Mm-hmm. You performed it in about 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. When did this idea come up for the Lost and Found in the Middle of, how did you pronounce?
Well, in the middle of nowhere, but the town is Gnoware.
Gnoware.
Mm-hmm. I think there were pieces of it that were always there, and I just wasn't sure how to put them together.
I was going to say the Seattle piece sounds like it was a leftover from the first play, right?
Well,
because that's where you came up with the idea, right?
On the way to Seattle,
Yeah,
yes. Right. So when I was looking for the big city representation, I just made him from Seattle. I didn't purposely pick Ohio for any reason other than it's right here. It's our neighbor.
Right. Yeah.
You know, I wanted an area that would be small, but I wanted to be able to reference the fact that he was on his way to Cleveland. You know, I had to plant it somewhere, and that's kind of where it came. I grew up in Conneaut Lake. That's a small town. I live in Lake City. That's a small town. So there's a lot of small town reference. We have cow pie bingo in Girard, you know. So, and to me, I think that someone from a large city would find that crazy, you know, or not even know what it is. And then once you explain it, so there's a lot of physical humor in it, and just, you know, the idea of someone from a big town coming to the small, you know, they still have a drive-in movie theater there, a little charm.
So there's this cast of characters that interfaces with this fellow who you hear his innermost thoughts.
Right.
Talk about, again, your approach to how big do you want the cast to be and so on, kind of like what we asked on the first one.
Yes, I definitely, again, wanted to keep it kind of small. So what I did was the character who is the voice, the inner voice of the main character, once that voice goes away, because at that point in the play, the main character is losing that sarcasm because he's starting to become endeared to these people and this place. So that inner voice goes away, and that actor then comes on stage to become someone else in the story. So kind of doing double duty with an accent.
Cool.
With an accent, so that hopefully the audience is not realizing, hey, that's the same guy.
Yeah.
Just because community theaters struggle to get auditioners, and it kind of gives them the flexibility to have, they could separate it if they had enough, but if they want to double the cast, then they can.
Do you have a favorite character for this? I mean, are you enamored with the main character, or is there somebody else that you either identify with or you just appreciate what they bring to the plot?
I think they all have their own quirks to them. I definitely, in putting it together, it's hard not to have someone in mind, but the character that is the rental car agent slash security person for the airport, I couldn't help but not think of Tim Conway as the antics are coming, you know, because it's a small airport. Obviously, this is the only passenger at that point in the play, but yet the security guy puts out the stanchions for him to have to walk through, and you know, they don't have the high tech cameras, so he gets a disposable camera out or a Polaroid. You know, it's just, and I can't help but think of Tim Conway as I go through it.
You mentioned some physical comedy or something like that. How do you, again, as a playwright, and you put notes about movement and blocking sometimes in the play. I don't know how much you're supposed to do or what the guidelines are, but you know, if you're asking somebody to do a backflip or a somersault on the couch or whatever, like, how does that work? Again, I'm interested in the mechanics of the actual playwriting itself, and what do you heard from directors or other confidants that you have about even just handling those notes and so on?
Well, to some extent, you have to set it up and with the idea that this play is written so that other theaters can take it and perform it. And in fact, it was. The world premiere of this play was done in Michigan City, Indiana.
That's amazing.
So my husband and I drove out there to see it, and to see them perform the play for the first time before I ever was in it or performed it was very interesting and very fun to see what they did with it. But, you give them the suggestions, you tee it up and let them go with their creativity too, because there are things that people think of that I would have never thought of, let's say, So you try to give some stage directions, but it's like a movie unfolding in your head. You can see it. The characters are here, and then you see them go over here, and you see this interaction. And so you just have to explain it or describe it enough that that's what everybody else is going to pick up on. So there's, as I said, the setting up of the stanchions. He'll bring there's not a scanner, so he brings out a metal detector and, a lot of improv stuff can come out of that, which just makes everything funny.
There's no doubt about it. All right, so let's talk about the performance of this Lost and Found in the Middle of Nowhere coming up here at the station in August.
It is. We have 3 weekends, Saturday and Sunday. The shows on Saturdays are at 5:30, Sundays are at 2:30. So it's August 15th and 16th weekend, 22nd, 23rd weekend, and 29th and 30th.
Wow. That's cool. Now, will that be the full dinner theater kind of approach? And so it comes with a meal and
correct.
It's a night out.
It is. I figure about 4 hours, just roughly. The actors in the show are also the servers. So we're interacting with the crowd and the people there in between the act, or we'll take a break and serve dessert. And so that makes it a real fun experience for us and them.
When you're writing a comedy, do you still have to put things like cliffhangers and, kind of foreshadowing and stuff like that? How does that work?
I don't know that you would have to. It's
not a mystery.
Right. Exactly. What I like to do is try to tie things up. So things that came out in the play in the beginning, there's a reference to later on, just to make it a little clever, a little thought-provoking. It's not deep, it's not very deep. I mean, I try to stick to comedy. Life has enough stress. Let's just laugh, we all need to laugh more. So, but give you some substance. Yeah. It's not just silly. It's not just slapstick type. Sure.
So they performed it in Indiana. When was that again?
April.
This past just a couple months ago.
Right. And
so you're excited to see this come to life here in Erie in August. I'm looking at the timeline here. Does that necessarily mean that you have another play brewing in your head right now?
People have asked me that. I have the smallest of ideas.
Where do those live? Like, are you like I said, are you journaling or?
No, I mean, I tend to gravitate toward the comedy. So I will watch Carol Burnett. I will watch Frasier. Right. I will watch, clips and reruns and clips and stand-up comedians and things little tidbits of things that I find funny. I think, I don't know, there must be some kind of filing cabinet, old school in my head. And, sort of like the cow pie bingo. That I think is just so funny. And it would be funny to an outsider. So I've just always thought I got to get that in there somewhere,
Well, I think about some of the lived experience that comes out of, writing a play like this or, writing the book. I mean, again, a memoir is essentially people's memories, right? But what was it? Joe Palca or somebody wrote that book about or wrote the play about Polish falcons. I don't know if you remember that one, but it's from about 30, 40 years ago now. And again, it's just, you start with like what you're dealing with your first play. Here's this context says that it means a lot to me,
right.
My former high school.
Right.
And what kind of hijinks can happen there? you know.
Right.
Here, you think about the, the cow pie bingo.
Right.
That's
right.
happening in Girard.
Right. Right. Well, and I when I worked for Hammer Mill, I flew a lot out of Erie.
Oh.
And so, the Erie airport is kind of small. The person at the counter could be booking a flight for you on, back then, Continental or US Air, or it wasn't that you had staff that was just for that airline.
Well, I remember the person that checked you in at the gate would go load your baggage into the plane.
Correct. And she would be at the gate. So that's exactly what's in here.
Boom, boom, boom.
Right. Yes. Yes. Small airport, Wait, that's the same person that I just...
Yeah. You don't see that in Atlanta.
No. No. Right.
Yeah.
Right. So
amazing.
So that small airport. And plus, and I've heard feedback from theater directors who have done the shows, and I am in touch with, that they are refreshed to have an opportunity to do a play that doesn't involve a living room set. Just because there's so many stories that are set in a living room, in the house. So this one's in a high school and this one's in an airport. So it just gives a little bit of a different variety for them to experience and for their audiences to experience.
And for the set builders that, hey, let's try something new, huh?
Right.
Let's make a counter with some Formica.
You don't need a couch in your high school, So, yeah.
That's cool. Well, Lisa, I got to tell you, this has been fun to kind of hear your process and the product of your creativity, and your husband sounds like he's a strong partner.
He is, and even my kids, I just bounce the ideas off. We had a read through. My daughter would read some of the parts, and I'd bounce ideas off of them. My son is coming from Texas to see the school play in my old high school. Mm-hmm. The family's definitely involved and supportive, and I don't know if they're rolling their eyes at their crazy mother or not, but it's a good time. We like to laugh. That's
fantastic. Lisa Rawson, Peeshk Productions LLC. Again, the show at the station opens on August 15th for 3 weekends. Mm-hmm. Lost and Found in the Middle of Gnoware, and then down at the Conneaut Lake, the former Conneaut Lake High School, but Conneaut area Middle School, mm-hmm. July 10th through the 12th, mm-hmm. for old school living in our old school. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I wish you the best.
Thank you.
Next time you write another one, make sure you pop in, okay? You got it. All righty. It's Talk Erie and the Joel and Natalie Show moving along here on this Wednesday.